Judging from my playtime in Star Wars Squadrons, the support class are some of the most underappreciated starfighters in the galaxy. Generally because they're not designed for fancy flying and high damage shooting, they're meant to help their counterpart fighters, bombers, and interceptors shine. However, a new addition to the arsenal of the U-Wing and the TIE Reaper has given it a newfound ability to wreak havoc on enemy capital ships, leaving you at the top of the leaderboard and with hefty amounts of capital ship damage. What's up, you guys? I'm not amazing, I'm just mediocre, and today I'm sharing with you an alternative to the traditional support class loadout. One that will allow you to lead the assault on the enemy capital ships instead of letting all your teammates do the work for you. Really quick before we get into that, if you guys want to stay up to date on everything Star Wars Squadrons, consider subscribing to the channel and hitting that notification bell so you don't miss my next video and so you can see me anytime I'm streaming live right here on YouTube. Now, getting right into this loadout, it's going to be the exact same on the U-Wing as it is on the TIE Reaper. And we're going to start out with a standard set of laser cannons so we can deal damage and maybe even do some dogfighting. We'll talk about that later. But your components, your auxiliaries, are more important. For the first one, we're taking Ion Torpedos because that's going to give us the ability to rip shields off capital ships in no time. And the support class can hold 3 torpedoes instead of the fighter, which can only hold 1. The right auxiliary, we're going to use the new component, the rocket turret, which deals intense damage to capital ships and in fact targets their subsystem like turrets and such, and so you can rip turrets off their cruisers and frigates without them even knowing you're there. Countermeasures are always a personal choice, but I take the deflector hull and the fortified deflector for all those extra shields. The shields are an extremely important asset because they're the only health that you can instantly heal just by changing your power systems instead of having to go back to your ship or to one of your cruisers or frigates. And then I also like the twin propulsion engine for the extra acceleration because I'm trying to go in deep into enemy territory, drop my payload out, and then go back home to resupply. Now, as far as actually using this in battle, the very first dogfight is the most important, and if you can get the morale on your side right away, that's going to make the rest of this fleet battle a whole lot easier. But you can't really dogfight that well, so your first target should be the Corvette or the Raider that spawns for the enemy team. You want to target it with your Ion Torpedo, rip the shields off that thing, and also drop your turret at the same time, because your turret will be shooting at it, doing damage to it, and your Ion Torpedo will rip the shields off of it straight away, meaning it's going to have half as much health as yours. That's going to make it a whole lot easier for your team to come in with like fighters or bombers, deal that extra damage and give you that 20-point morale boost and push your team to the aggressive right away. And then once you're on the aggressive, since you have all these Ion Torpedoes, you should still have 2 if you haven't died yet. You can immediately start launching Ion Torpedoes at the enemy frigates or cruisers. It only takes about 1 to pretty much remove all of the shields off one of those objectives. And so if you can drop both your Ion Torpedoes on those objectives in one pass, you can rip the shields off both objectives instantly, and that's tens of thousands of damage that your bombers no longer have to worry about inflicting on that enemy objective. Combine that with the rocket turrets and the people won't know what hit them. They fly about 700 meters away, so you can be probably about 1,500 meters, 2,000 meters away from the objectives and fire your turret at it, and it will land close enough to start firing at that objective. I have gotten a ridiculous amount of turret kills from these rockets as well. That's something that might not be readily apparent, is that the turrets are actually picking off the subsystems of those particular cruisers. When it comes to the capital ships, they're going to target the laser turrets and missile turrets that are on those capital ships, and I honestly haven't seen it actually attack like the shield generators or the power systems, but they will definitely slowly but surely pick all the turrets off of a capital ship, including things like the tractor beam as well. So this is a ridiculously powerful build for getting a lot of sneaky sleeper damage in on enemy objectives without them knowing it's happening, because you don't actually have to be present for the damage to occur. And that's pretty much the offensive role of this loadout in a nutshell. You're using your Ion Torpedoes to rip the shields off those objectives, and then leaving your rocket turrets behind to deal damage to them while you're going to resupply. And it's about the same on the A and B objectives as it is once you get to the flagship. You're just going to go ahead and hit that thing with your Ion Torpedoes and drop your rocket turrets close by so they can deal the damage that needs to be done. But what about when you get on the defensive? Well, since you're not going to be that great at dogfighting with a U-wing, your primary objective is once again to destroy the enemy raider or corvette, whichever one is spawning in. You want to hit it with the Ion Torpedo and then leave the rocket turrets around so that they will deal damage to them. And then make sure you're pinging that target out for your team to shoot as well. But what happens after that raider goes down and you still need morale points to flip back to the offense? Well, you're not likely going to find success dogfighting in a support ship unless the enemy players aren't very good. But what you can do is target enemy AI, the computer-controlled starfighters that fly around in squads. They did recently nerf this so that you only get 3 points. This is down from the 5 where it began, and the 4 that they changed it to from the previous patch, so serious nerf to the AI. However, it can still be extremely valuable to flipping that morale bar to your side and getting back on the offensive. These AI starfighters will push very far into your territory, and you can often find them flying around right next to your own flagship. So as a support class, you can do a lot of work for your own team by doing nothing more than hanging around your own flagship, specifically targeting enemy AI fighters, and then just ripping them to shreds with overcharged lasers. Since you're probably not going to have a very hard time keeping them in your sights, you won't need to overcharge your engines in order to keep them in your sights, and you won't have to be dealing with some of the crazy maneuvers that actual players will pull off. So do your best to take down the raider and then farm some AI points until you're back on the offense. And then once you get to the enemy flagship, it only takes 2 Ion Torpedoes to completely rip the shields off. And even if you only get 1 of those Ion Torpedoes to land, your raider or corvette that flies in with you will likely be able to finish the job for you and get those shields down all the way so that your team can launch attack runs on the enemy flagship without having to worry about getting underneath the shields first. Now ideally you'll have a team on your side who knows what they're doing, and they'll go in to destroy the shield generators after you've taken the shields down, but that's not always the case. All the same, you can ensure your team's victory with those Ion Torpedoes just by having them handy. Being so easily able to destroy the shields of the enemy capital ship makes them extremely vulnerable to having their hull damaged by your rocket turrets and the corvette or raider that flies in to assist you for that portion of the battle. They won't be able to stop the damage happening to them. Even if their shields constantly recharge, all you have to do is drop 2 Ion Torpedoes and those shields will be removed. And you can even actually destroy the power systems of an enemy capital ship with your Ion Torpedoes as well. So with all of that, this support class is extremely capable of carrying a team towards victory, or at least supporting them towards victory. Hope you guys learned something from watching this video. If you did, drop a like on it and subscribe to the channel. And if you want some more ideas for incredible loadouts in Star Wars Squadrons, click the videos you see on your screen right now. We've got interceptors, we got bombers. I'm going to be coming out with some fighter loadouts pretty soon too. Hope to see you guys in the next one. In the meantime, I'm not amazing, I'm just mediocre, and I'm out.